Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Judah Luz. I'm going to talk about a certain topic. I was thinking about, so I decided that I'll share it on the channel today, and it's about whether people are still getting interested in rugby league or not. Yeah, how I address this is people's interest in rugby league can increase or decrease. Like when I was younger, like I had a lot of energy and I was also passionate about supporting teams in the NRL. When the Maggie Noodles cut season came out in Port Moresby, I was very interested. The children where I went to school together, they were also interested in collecting the cards. And rugby league has been interesting to a lot of Papua New Guineans. Like you'll find that over the state of origin period, people get really excited and start painting their faces and all that. I don't know what it's like in Australia, but it depends on which place it has more interest in rugby league, how rugby league is promoted. Well, people have their own opinions, but I think the NRL for me is maybe not like it depends on the market for how the sport is broadcast and whether people are getting interested. But if you look at it, like the older you get, like players in rugby league, when they're young, they have a lot of energy and they can play. But the older they get, they look into retirement, and they most of them turn out to broadcast the game or become coaches or trainers or become part of the club management, or they move to different positions in the hierarchy. So um, I don't know about whether the competition is getting bigger or not, but it depends. Like some people are involved, like there are many ways you can be involved in the game. Like when I was younger, I thought that the most important thing to do is be a player and represent the club you support. But when I look at it now, I don't think that leads to greater benefits. So now the older that I am, like now I'm in my thirties now, so I'm 31, almost gonna be 32, but my interests have really changed. I used to be I used to think that I could play rugby league. Like I even took, said to myself, I think I can still play. But now that I'm in my 30s now, I've decided that maybe I should try other stuff because um, my interest has dropped a bit, but I'm still passionate in supporting teams. Like I still follow South Sydney and the NRL and try to find out about. But mainly on this channel, I'll be talking more about South Sydney because I follow South Sydney. I'm even following some of their pages and all that. So, but in general, the rugby league, it depends on what audience is like. If you look at a younger audience like that are playing the game, they might have more interest because they you see, like when I walk around the streets in Port Moresby, I see a lot of kids playing touch football on in the dust, and yeah, there's still a bit of interest from the young generation growing up, but whether that increases or not depends because the world is changing, and sometimes if rugby league was to survive a longer period of time, then they might have to be some good ways to market the game which would attract a bigger audience to the NRL, because back in the olden days, rugby league started and it wasn't broadcast to a large. And back in those days, like 1908, like the teams, not a lot of people knew what how to play rugby league, or what rugby league was like. They had to invent the rules of the game and structure out the game, how teams would compete against one another. So the way things are done has expanded, like more businesses get involved and um more people know about the game, and they try to find ways to expand it out to other places. So that's how rugby league has grown. But in the future, like if rugby league was to expand, then we would need to have a good advertising platform to build to keep on advertising the game and keep make attracting fans, because fans are one of the reason why players want to play on the field. Like some clubs with them and like can't support themselves because they don't have enough fans, and it's expensive these days to run a team in the NRL. Like just recently, the Western Bears, the bid I read on the newspaper, like if you've been following the Western Bears, their team has pulled out of the expansion bids, and now they're talking about PNG also coming back into the bid for which team is going to be the next team after the Dolphins. So things can be uncertain for clubs. Like in the olden days, like they like there was a lot of ways and techniques that they tried to use, but it wasn't growing that quickly. Now you have the internet and the media, social media, and all that. Like people can just say something and promote something. Back in those days, it was very, very difficult. Imagine being born at that time. Like you wouldn't have access to club's information. You wouldn't have any way. Like how I found out about rugby league. I watched my first rugby league match back in '99 when the Dragons made the grand final against the Melbourne Storm. That's when I started watching the NRL. Like how it's broadcasted is very, very important because if it reaches a wider audience, like that's when the market can expand. So depending on answering my question at the start of this video, I was asking, is rugby league going to be more interesting to people? Will people find rugby league more interesting? I think it can be improved. It can be improved the number of audience we attract, or the number of like depending on what the future generation, what do they think about rugby league? Do they want to? Because maybe if you could include more careers in rugby league, or like the way the games are advertised or like that, then you can find out more about what the sport is, because like some people they still don't know much about it because they haven't watched it. It depends on how well the game is broadcast and how advertisers can advertise it. Like the NRL is more common in PNG because we have the same time zone as Australia. So when we wake up, when it's the afternoon, it's also afternoon down in Australia as well. So the games, whenever the games are broadcast, it matches our time zone. If you look at the Super League, like not many people watch Super League matches because while we're on a different part of the planet, when the Super League games are on, they broadcast when probably some people are sleeping or they're not ready to watch it because it's different time zones. So maybe more people in Europe, if you were in Europe or those places, you would have a better access to the update. You'd be able. It would be very easy for you to follow how the games are being broadcasted. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this video. But maybe rugby league can be improved, like if they include more roles for the game, like marketing or advertising. Like I was thinking, maybe advertising, like if people are good at advertising and broadcasting the game, man, the NRL could expand. But it depends on where, like the audience, how to like how the game is gonna attract more people to watch it and become interested in it. But when I'm walking around the streets, I see some kids, like younger kids from the younger generations, they still love playing touch rugby, and they love turning up to training. And I don't know what it's like, but we are in Australia, but around PNG, like people are still in Port Moresby where I live. people still find interest. And like when it's state of origin, you'll hear crowds shouting and supporting their teams on the street. So it's something positive going there. Anyway, that's all I have to say for this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.